Good morning, class. Yesterday we went over the definition of predictions and the 3 areas where we predict, and last week we went over inferences. So, can anyone tell me why you think I picked the crystal ball for our visual representation? Yes, Kylie?
Is it because fortune tellers used it to predict the future?
You are right. That's why I used it, because legend has it that fortune tellers will use crystal balls to predict what will happen in someone's future. So we use our own context clues and prior knowledge to predict what will happen in books. For your diagnostic, I'm going to have you guys write down on your crystal ball sheet of paper what is a prediction and where are the 3 areas we predict. When you're done, raise your pencil up so I can see that you are done and complete. As I walk around the classroom, I'm going to watch and see what answers you have. All right. I see that everyone has their paper done and written it down. Now I'm going to call on Sarah. Go ahead.
Yes?
What is the definition of prediction?
Using what we know to figure out what's going to happen next.
Correct. And Mike, where are the 3 areas where we predict?
Before reading, during reading, and after reading?
You are correct. So now I'm going to go over our character education and our objectives for this week. So our objective is, given the definition of prediction and modeling done by me on how to make, confirm, and revise prediction, you guys will be able to make, confirm, and revise prediction 4 out of 5 trials. Basically, what this is telling us that you guys should know is how to make predictions based on your context clues and your prior knowledge. Confirm is whether or not what you predicted happened. So for instance, let's say I predict that the 3 little pigs are going to be safe at the end of the book. I read the book, I confirm, yes, all 3 are safe. Or I put an X if they're not all 3 safe. And revision is I predicted this happened, but this happened, or I predicted this and it did happen. So moving on with our character education trait. Treat others how you want to be treated. Basically what this is saying is do not make fun of your peers' predictions because they are doing the same thing as you as basing it on their own context clues and previous knowledge. So there's no right and wrong with predicting. It's just guessing what you think will happen using your prior knowledge and context clues. So the definition of prediction for review is prediction is the act of declaring what you believe will happen next using your prior knowledge and context clues in the story. The 3 areas where we make predictions are before reading, during reading, and after reading. So an example of before reading would be based on the cover of your book, as seen here, and on the title. So I'm going to predict Madeline might rescue someone based on the title and the picture of it takes place in Perry and stuff like that. That's before reading. During reading is when you make a prediction as you read. So you pause at certain parts of the book and use your context clues to make a guess what will happen next in the story in future pages. And after reading is once you finish reading, you guess what will happen to the characters after the book has ended. Our guided practice, I picked out a video for you guys to watch and make predictions on. So what is going to happen? So for the first video, I'm going to make predictions based off of the clues I have. So I see they're out in the boat at night. So I'm going to predict that they might be going on night fishing. Let's see if my prediction is right so far. Well, I see an anchor, so they're probably going to drop it in the water and then begin fishing. However, the grandpa's like, no, we're not doing that. And they're bringing up a ladder. So my prediction was wrong at first. So now I'm going to make a new prediction that the boy is going to try to touch the moon. We'll see if my prediction is right or incorrect based off of my predictions and the context clues. What is the boy going to do? I said he is going to touch the moon based off of what I saw in the context clues, or try to touch the moon. but he floats up to it. So my prediction wasn't fully right, but I did say he would try to touch the moon. So for the next video, I'm going to tell you some context clues I see and let you guys guess what's going to happen. We see Bernie. He is taking off a broken antenna, so we could guess that he might be a maintenance robot. So let's see what we can predict that Bernie's going to do. We see Wally on his spaceship flying to that spaceship. So what do you think, Brian, that Bernie's going to do? If you don't mind coming up to the board and writing it down. So you believe Bernie is going to alert the captain of the ship. We'll see if that happens. Now everyone else, write down your predictions too. And raise your pencil when you're ready to move on. Alright, I see everyone has their pencil raised, so we're going to go and see what happens. So Bernie is trying to put the new rod in. And he waves to Wally. Alright, so as we pause the video. Alright, so was your prediction right?
No.
But it's okay, you did your best guess on what was going to happen. So we're going to circle this and write what actually happened for the revision part. So Bernie is going to wave. Wave at Wally. So that was us confirming by circling, which means we guessed but it wasn't right. Now we would put a check mark if it was right or it did happen, and circle if our prediction was not right. Now, moving on to the last video. You guys are doing so great. I'm so proud of you.
This is great!
So we see what they're wearing.
Off in a whole new world.
And we see
When
what
you
Buzz
go
is
deep
talking about.
sea diving. Oh, I've got the perfect outfit.
So based on their outfits and what Buzz said, Kenneth, what do you think Barbie and Ken are going to do? Come up and write your answer. And for the rest of you, write down your answers and raise your pencil when you're ready to move on. Alright, I'm going to walk around, check everyone's paper. I see everyone's pencils up. Good job, guys. So, he predicted that they are going to go scuba diving. So let's see if that happens. So they do go scuba diving. Great job. So we're going to put a check mark right here to confirm that it did happen. Alright, now we are going to move on to our next slide. What do we do when we make predictions? So the first thing we do is we confirm, as we demonstrated on our crystal ball on our whiteboard. So when we confirm, we check if what we predicted happened or did not happen in the story. So as you see, I circled Bernie is going to alert the captain because that did not happen in our story, and wrote the revision, Bernie is going to wave at Wally. Which brings us to our next point, revisions. We revise predictions. In this stage, we write down what we predicted compared to what actually happened. So these statements would be rather, I predicted this would happen, but this happened instead. Or I predicted this and it did happen. So, now we're going to get ready to go to our reading circle. And we're going to make predictions during, before, and after reading on the book Madeline's Rescue. But before we go into our reading circles, if you need a break, now is the time to walk around, do some stretches before we start. I will give you at least a couple minutes before. And when everyone's ready, meet me in the reading circle. Alright, we had a little stretch. And now we're going to begin. So you have a 4-column piece of paper already made for you with before, during, and after reading label and confirm predictions where you can circle them or make a check mark. Alright, so now we're going to make our prediction based on the cover of Madeline's Rescue and on the title. So when you're done, put your pencils up and I will start our reading. Alright, I'm going to walk around, check everyone's paper. Yes, yes. Alright, I see everyone's pencils up, so we're going to move on. Madeline's Rescue. In an old house in Paris that was covered in vines lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. The smallest one was Madeline. They left the house at 9:30 in rain or shine. She was not afraid of mice. She loved winter, snow, and ice. To the tigers in the shoe, Madeline just went poo-poo. And nobody knew so well how to frighten Miss Coffelle, until the day she slipped and fell. Poor Madeline will now be dead, but for a dog that kept her head and tracked her safe from a watery grave. From now on, I hope you will listen to me. And here's a cup of caramel tea. Good night, little girls. I hope you sleep well. Good night, dear Miss Coffelle. Miss Coffelle turned out the light, and after that she left. There was a fight about where the dog should sleep that night. That new pupil was ever so helpful and clever. The dog loved biscuits, milk, beef, and they named her Genevieve. She could sing and almost talk and enjoyed her daily walk. Soon the snow began to fly. Inside it was warm and dry, and 6 months passed quickly by. When the 1st of May came near, there was nervousness each year. So here we're going to stop and make a prediction during reading. So why do you think the girls and the teachers were nervous each year by the 1st of May? So I'm going to walk around, check your guys' paper, and when you're done, raise your pencils up. All right, I see everyone's pencils up. You guys are doing awesome. For that day, there arrived a collection of trustees for the annual inspection. So I want you guys to put a check mark or circle your prediction for the confirming part. I'll give you a minute to do that. Raise your pencils when you're done. All right. I see everyone's done. Good job. Now we're going to continue reading. The inspection was most thorough, much to everybody's sorrow. Now I'm going to have you guys predict why the girls were sorrowed because of the inspection going well. And how do you think the Board of Trustees will feel about a dog being in their school? So we're going to move on as soon as I see everyone's pencils are up. All right, I see everyone's pencils up, so we're going to move on. Tap, tap, whatever can that be? Tap, tap, come out and let me see. Dear me, it's a dog. Isn't there a rule that says dogs aren't allowed in school? Miss Coffelle, get rid of it, please, said the president of the Board of Trustees. Yes, but the children love her so, said Miss Coffelle. Please don't make her go. I dare say, said Lord Cuckoo-Face. I mean, it's a perfect disgrace for young ladies to embrace this creature of uncertain race. Off with you, go on, run scat, go away, and don't come back. So here we're going to make another prediction during reading. What do you think will happen to Miss Genevieve? As soon as I see everyone's pencils up, I will move on as I walk around. Yes, I see everyone's pencils up, so we're good to move on. Let's see what happens. Madeline jumped on her chair. Lord Cougarface, she cried, beware, Miss Genevieve's noblest dog in France. You shall have your vengeance. It's no use crying or talking. Let's get dressed and go out walking. The sooner we're ready, the sooner we'll leave. The sooner we'll find Miss Genevieve. They went looking high and low, and every place a dog might go, in every place they called her name, but no one answered to the same. The Jimmins said, we don't believe we've seen a dog like Genevieve. Hours after that they started. They came back home broken-hearted. Oh, Genevieve, where can you be? Genevieve, please come back to me. In the middle of the night, Miss Grafale turned on the light and said, something is not right. An all-street lamp shed its light on Miss Genevieve outside. She was petted, she was fed, and everybody went to bed. Good night, little girls. I hope you sleep well. Good night, dear Miss Grafale. Miss Grafale turned out the light, and again there was a fight, as each girl cried, Genevieve is mine tonight. For a second time that night, Miss Grafale turned on her light, and afraid of a disaster, she ran fast. And even faster. If there's one more fight about Genevieve, I'm sorry, but you'll have to leave. That was the end of the riot. Suddenly, all was quiet. For the third time that night, Miss Grafale turned on the light. And to her surprise, she found that suddenly there was enough ham to go all around. So we finished our book. So now we're going to, in the after reading prediction part, we're going to use our context clues and prior knowledge of Madeline to guess what will happen in the next book of the series, if there is another book. So take your time. I'm going to walk around and check everyone's paper, and when you're done, raise your hand and pencils. All right, I see everyone's good and done. Great job, guys. For our exit ticket today, we're going to write down one of our predictions that we made during our reading of Madeline, and then we are going to submit it and say whether it happened or it did not happen. So as you pass your exit tickets to the end of your rows, get ready for math. All right, thanks, guys.